Hi, Eric Lanask here. We're in Miami for ITEXPO. On the program with me is Mike Storella from Dog Hunter. Mike, great to have you with us again. Certainly glad we're doing this here in Miami and not up in Boston right now.
You're completely right, Eric. We kind of escaped a major snowstorm. It's good to be here as usual.
So, you mentioned the show, the IoT Evolution event has really kicked off with a bang. Lots of momentum, lots of energy around M2M and the Internet of Things, which of course is the space that Dog Hunter is in as well. Where's all the momentum coming from? Why is there so much attention around it?
Well, I think as you've probably heard, people are talking about by 2020 the market's going to be in the trillions, and and many big companies now have jumped in. Okay, clearly. We just joined the All-Scene Alliance in the last month or so, which is essentially a product called AllJoyn that was donated by Qualcomm to this new consortium, I call it. And in a year, it's gone from basically 0 members to over 100. And some of the names of premier companies, that we're all used to seeing in the IT space, and in the industry. But they are putting a lot of effort and money into IoT. Some of the names clearly are like IBM and Microsoft and Sony and many, many more, and Qualcomm and Intel. Clearly is another whole area. But the momentum, there's a lot of prototyping, I think, going on right now, but clearly there's some products hitting the market, a lot of them in the wearables and health area, as everybody thought that might be an area that would first go into using IoT devices to cut costs in healthcare. So we're seeing a lot of momentum in that area. I think now there's more, some of the things are hitting the shelves, in Lowe's and Home Depots, with everything now being controlled by Wi-Fi and giving some more intelligence to devices that were previously, pretty dumb. They did one function and, like a smoke detector. If you got smoke and you were there and you heard it, you got out of the building. Now we want that. We want that smoke detector to tell me what's going on in my building when I'm not there.
Right.
So the momentum's, we've announced, half a dozen new products. All have dog names like Chihuahua and Free Dog and Dog Leash, and they all do different things technically with our basic platform, which is the Lenino One, which does Wi-Fi and Linux, has the Qualcomm AllJoyn, in it, which is the All-Scene Alliance product. Where the platform is the kind that gets embedded in somebody else's product. Yeah.
So, what is the benefit? What was the motivation for Dog Hunter? What's the benefit you get from being part of the alliance?
Well, the alliance, I think, the AllJoyn product, or the software package, purports to be a package that will allow different products in, let's say, home automation. We tend to keep going to home automation because it's probably the sexiest one that we're all used to talking about. But essentially, if AllJoyn was running in a refrigerator and a light bulb and a dishwasher, all these products could be talking to each other over the AllJoyn. So one product could actually query another product for some critical information it might need to make some determination of what it's doing for the homeowner. I think one of the things that we'll see more of is industrial uses. Clearly, the industry or the technology can afford manufacturers to do things that they previously had to do manually. In talking to some manufacturers of, like, say, big boilers, where they send a truck roll, to go check things like once a month or once a week. That might all be done electronically over the internet through intelligent, smart devices, like we have that run Linux and can be, Now, the other thing you have to do with all of this, clearly, we supply the package that you can use to embed in a product, but you really have to have people writing the application, understand the operational things you want, and then you got to figure out how to collect the data. Whether that be a cloud solution, whether you want the data locally to go somewhere. But it all points to huge savings in operational efficiencies. preemptive maintenance on products could be absolutely huge. I mean, if your dishwasher, again, told the manufacturer it had an error code and it sent it to them, and that manufacturer could call you up and say, gee, I'm going to send you this module. Swap it out, and you're all set.
And in addition to saving time and cost of the truck rolls, as you mentioned, there's a huge benefit in terms of customer satisfaction and ultimately, ideally, customer loyalty.
Absolutely. I mean, if you can imagine, I think there'll be opportunities for and who knows where it might go. I mean, we have certain kind of industries in our house all the time, like cable companies and telephone companies. And they might offer services that we never heard of,
right,
that might take care of things they never thought they would actually worry about. But it all could be making our lives a lot more simpler, safer, clearly safer. I mean, the whole area of water damage, I mean, you start to think of things that could be, monitored and, made safer. I imagine insurance companies would love to know when the next flood's going to happen from some pipe bursting and prevent it,
So understanding those things, let's switch gears and talk a little bit about Dog Hunter. And you mentioned a number of different products that you've come out with. So what's the difference between, you mentioned a Chihuahua and Dog Leash and several others, sort of what do they all do? Okay,
so a lot of the different products are based upon price and form factor. Okay, so the Lanina 1 essentially is about 2.5 inches long, has a lot of pin headers on it. You can put it in a breadboard, and you can prototype your application. Now, again, you might use that in the final production, but in many cases, that kind of retails for like $59. When people want to do volume, we actually have the Chihuahua, which is about the size of 2 postage stamps, which is a board that you would then embed on somebody else's board. Maybe that goes inside a stereo speaker. Maybe it goes again. Now that one price is down, it's half the price of that one. So clearly in volume in this industry, the prices will come down. And there will be different application setups where somebody says, well, I might want Linux, I might want, again, all joint in there, but we actually have maybe some special sauce that needs to be done for a specific application, and we could do that. So again, we make I'm calling it the hardware middle of the whole application, and again, it's many different forms. Now, one of the things recently we've been talking to a couple of people that want to use these products outdoors, so we need to harden them up, for environmental, whether it be temperature, cold and hot. Clearly there's some areas where people want them to run, off of photoelectric cells that might run, and have to run for 10 years. So as you can see, it's getting very interesting in some of the applications that people are thinking up and prototyping. I mean, we've had a guy say, I've got a greenhouse and I want to measure humidity, but I also want to measure the weather forecast, and maybe I'll turn my sprinklers on and maybe I won't, depending on what the environment is doing. It could save a lot of time and effort in the farming industry. So I think when people say trillions, it seems possible. I don't know if it'll happen that fast, but it seems very viable. Yeah.
Well, you've certainly jumped right into it. As the industry continues to evolve, as you see some of the different things that are being done with not only in your products but in the industry in general, is there a possibility you're looking to work, with a broader community of partners from your perspective, whether that's the vendors that create the products that they embed you into, or possibly, you mentioned the fact that one of the keys is going to be the application developers have to understand what you can do. Is there room for working with those guys?
Absolutely. I mean, I think we will have to, develop a developers program, do certifications of developers that then will understand our platform and then can write applications for, I'll call it the end user. On the flip side, I think we clearly will have to work with cloud providers that are doing data mining and storage. We have to do security. So a lot of that, there clearly will be partnerships. I don't think any one company can do all of it. I mean, we've focused in on these devices that give you the building block. But once you have the building block, you clearly will have to, partner with others and partner. I mean, some companies will go it alone and say, I'm going to write my own application. But I think what you're going to find is expertise develop in, whether it be the smartphone end or the cloud end, you really need people that know what they're doing in that environment. So,
right.
Absolutely right. We will be doing a lot of partnering.
Good. We'll certainly look forward to hearing more as that kind of stuff happens. Mike, as always, thanks for being here. Great to see you again.
Great to see you again, too.